the end of an era. Have we seen the last of Virat Kohli in the blues? Is this the king walking away from a format that he has ruled for so long? All these questions may be there in your mind, mine and every cricket fan's minds tonight. Because today, Virat Kohli has made this gesture. The one that you can see right behind me. His head is bowed down and he's got his gloves. He looks very dejected in it. He's got his gloves in his right hand. He seems to be waving to the crowd. It's not a big wave, it's a gentle wave. More of an acknowledgement. All of this was happening at a time, this simple gesture of respect at a time when there was a standing ovation for him. But such is the greatness, such is the legacy of Virat Kohli. He got out on a duck, and yet when he was walking out, there was a standing ovation from the people there in the stadium at Adelaide. It was almost, after all, a home to him. But was there something more to this gesture, more than just an acknowledgement to the crowds at Adelaide? A deeper message, perhaps? Look at this gesture once again. This is the moment when he got out. And right after that, out on a duck, you can see all the people standing up, waving the Tiranga and giving him a standing ovation. That's when he raised his right hand and you could see the glove in his right hand. He waved. What does that gesture mean? The fact that this man may be out on a duck, but it's not about this one performance. It's what he has given to not just Indian cricket, but to cricket across the world, where fans have been elated with the kind of performance that Virat Kohli has given again and again over the last 16 years. This is an acknowledgement of that. And then you see his glove and his right hand come up. Over the next 20 minutes, we are going to try and decode what really Virat Kohli's gesture really means. If it is meaning anything at all. The moment came right after Virat Kohli fell cheaply against Australia in the second ODI, a game that India went on to lose earlier in the day. The three-match series against the Kangaroos is being seen as the beginning of India's preparations for the 2027 ODI World Cup. But in the two games so far, Kohli has struggled to get it going. In fact, just look at the statistics. The last two matches in Perth, he got out on a duck. Again, in Adelaide, earlier today, he got out on another duck. The double ducks. But does that mean a swan song for Virat Kohli? Will he go out on a double duck? Well, Virat Kohli's gesture has set the cat amongst the pigeons. In fact, there are fans on social media who have been speaking about this gesture. They've been putting up a lot of questions. What does it really mean? Was this his final swan song in the blues? Well, let's get you some of the voices which have been coming up on social media. For example, you have this post coming up. Is Virat King Kohli retiring? These are the kind of questions people are asking. Another person on social media said, the way Kohli thanked the fans actually scares me a bit. Clearly a big fan of Virat Kohli. He doesn't want to say goodbye to him just yet. Is it just for Adelaide or for everyone? Is what another one of the people, a fan on social media, said. They also said fans would love to see him go out with a bang. Someone else also wrote saying Virat Kohli thanking the Adelaide crowd. What does it really mean? That's what everyone says. Is it just thanking the Adelaide crowd? Or is it Virat Kohli saying goodbye? Well, you'll have to decide. Well, it's very much possible that Kohli's gesture was nothing more than just a mark of respect for Adelaide, a venue after all, which is often described as Virat's home away from home. And let us tell you why. Why Virat Kohli has a long-standing love affair with his ground. Well, look at this. Just sample this. He, in Adelaide, got 975 runs. This is the highest that any cricketer got by a visiting batter. This is the highest ever, and he scored it in Adelaide, 975. In Adelaide, he also has hit 5 centuries, the most for a non-Australian to have hit in Adelaide, and Virat Kohli holds that record too. In fact, there are twin hundreds in his first test as the Indian captain. Remember the time when he had just taken over from Dhoni? He became a captain in the one series, and in that series itself, he hit his first test as the Indian captain as well, went on to win the series. So he has a special love affair. The first time he became a test captain, it was right there in Adelaide. Also 107 is what he managed to get against Pakistan in 2015 ODI World Cup, one of his best performances that he has shown. This is the kind of track record and understandably why Virat Kohli loves Adelaide and Adelaide loves Virat Kohli. But if Virat Kohli's gesture was truly a sign that he's had enough, then it's time that we remember him as the man who conquered one-day cricket. Because this format never had and perhaps will never ever get a son like Virat Kohli. Look at this. Let's get you the statistics. They really speak for themselves. I don't need to say much. Number of matches that the king has played here is 303. Number of runs that he's managed in ODIs has been 14,181. What's his average? Average has been 57.6. It's phenomenal, to say the least. The number of centuries that he's managed to get in ODIs is a whopping 51. The number of half centuries, 74. The number of man of the match awards that Virat Kohli's managed to get in ODIs is 39. That's the kind of contribution. When Virat Kohli plays, it's not just Indian fans, it's fans across the world of cricket who cheer him on. However, it's important to note that Virat Kohli hasn't quite been in his best in ODI since the start of this decade, since the 2020s. While his overall career average sits very well above 55, it's about 57. Since 2020, he's only matched or surpassed that mark once. Let's show you how there has been a downward spiral that critics of Virat Kohli have been pointing out. In 2022, the number of matches that he played was 11. In 2023, he played 27 matches. But remember, 2023 was the World Cup year, which is why it's expected that the statistics are going to be tallying up there. 2024, 3 matches. 2025, 9 matches. But what we are going to look at is the average and the number of runs. In 2022, it was 302 runs, averaging around only 27. If he had an average of roughly 57, it's gone down to 27. By 2023, the average went up, as I was telling you earlier. It is World Cup, and of course, he put up a phenomenal show during the World Cup. He managed a 72 average 2 years back, and the number of runs that he made in 1 year alone was 1,377. The number of matches which were played overall in 2024, of course, was low for Team India. He played 3 matches, about 58 runs. The average was only 19.33. So you can see how the averages have been coming down. This year, he has played about 9 ODIs. The number of runs that he's managed to rack up here has been 274, with an average of about 34.3%. Many would say this is not a bad average. But for a Virat Kohli, this is not the kind of averages that we've seen from King Kohli. At one time, it was as high as 57%. Now you have 27, 72, 19, and you have a 34 of an average. So critics of Kohli who believe that his time in the spotlight may be over argue that there are several other players who are waiting in the wings as well, which is why we must acknowledge the kind of legacy that India has always had and will hopefully continue to have over the decades when it comes to sheer talent that we have seen in India. There are so many of them who are waiting in the wings, eager for a chance to come out, perform, to make their mark in the Blues. And he should be kind enough for them to make waves. Because many have talked about, why not someone like an Abhishek Sharma? After all, we are preparing for 2027 for the World Cup. Why not try out Abhishek Sharma? Look at the kind of performance that this young chap has given so far. In 2025 IPL, the maximum amount of sixes which have been hit by an Indian was Abhishek Sharma. Then he also managed to get 141 of 55 balls for the Sunrisers Hyderabad. That's the kind of statistics that he's managed to give to India. 2025 T20, 135 of 54 balls versus England. And yet this guy barely has any ODI experience. Many are saying Abhishek Sharma is ready for ODIs. Try him out, is what many have been saying. But he is not the only one. Remember, there's also Yashasvi Jaiswal. Everyone's been talking about the phenomenal run that he's had when it comes to tests. Why not try him out in all formats now? In Test alone, the amount of average that he has is 51.6. The highest score that he's managed in Test cricket is 214. October 2025, earlier this month, he managed to get 175 runs versus West Indies. That's his Test average, and that's the score that he's shown us that he is capable of. In IPL, if you see, he's had a phenomenal run there as well. His average has been 43. The strike rate that he's given is 159. Many are saying he's ready and raring and roaring to go. Why not try him out? Then, of course, you have Prabsimran Singh, who's also done phenomenally well in the recent past. In IPL, he scored 549 runs in 17 matches. He comes to an average of about 32, strike rate of 160. Phenomenal statistics for someone so young with a bright, promising career ahead of him. If you look at the way he has averaged in List A cricket as well, he's done very well. In India A, the average that he's managed to get is 43.5. The strike rate is 107. Many are saying, why not give people like this a chance? Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, Roko as they are called together, of course, have done phenomenally well for India. But why not try out new people who may become the legends of tomorrow? However, if this truly is the end of the road for Virat Kohli, then it's not the kind of farewell that he deserves. A dejected walk back to the pavilion is hardly a fitting enough farewell for a career of this kind of magnitude that Virat Kohli has given to us, especially when compared to the grand send-offs that we've seen to some of the other legends of the games. For example, remember Saurav Ganguly's farewell test? It was in 2008. It was a test series that he was playing against Australia. And it was a heart-warming moment. Of course, he got that guard of honor and that round, a victory lap which was there. You can see Harbhajan there. But what was very interesting, and if you remember from 2008, you had MS Dhoni, who was the captain of that time. He said the last 15 minutes he handed over his captaincy as a gesture of honor, as a gesture of gratitude to Saurav Ganguly, and he made him the captain for the last 15 years. That's the kind of send-off that they have given to the greats of the past. Sachin Tendulkar's last ODI, I remember that was November 2013. This was against West Indies. We all remember the huge send-off, the teary farewell that was given to Sachin Tendulkar. And finally it ended with a victory lap. And you can see Sachin Tendulkar there being given a victory lap on the shoulders of Virat Kohli and MS Dhoni. That's the kind of send-off that he deserved. That's the kind of send-off that Sachin Tendulkar did get on his home ground with his entire family present. A tearful farewell to Sachin Tendulkar. And not just in India. This has been some kind of a protocol, you can see a pattern that we've seen several times for the cricketing legends. For example, James Anderson. If you remember the final test that he had played, it was very apt because this was in 2024 final test which was played at Lord's, which is of course the home ground, which is the biggest that you can get in England. For him to have his final test at Lord's, and this was against West Indies, and it was a very heartwarming moment because his daughters were the one who rang the bell before the match. It's the 5-minute bell which happens before the match, and that honor was given to his two daughters. In the past, you've had many of the cricketing greats who have been given that honor, that gesture that they could show, and this gesture of honor was given to his two daughters. Also, he was asked to lead the team onto the field when they went in to play that match. And at the end of it, there was a guard of honor. After that match got over, you can see the cricketers from both sides had lined up to say goodbye to him. That's the kind of send-off that James Anderson deserved, and he got. Which is why we are asking a simple question. Is this going to be the double duck? Is that going to be the send-off that we have for Virat Kohli? Does he even deserve this? A silent goodbye? Let me go across to our panelists. Joining us today on the show, we have Alan Sippy, a former cricketer. Ranjit Bajaj also joins us, the founder-director of Minerva Cricket Academy. Alan Sippy, I'll start with you first. What do you make of that gesture of Virat Kohli? Do you think it seemed like a goodbye?
Thank you, Meghna. But honestly speaking, that wasn't like a goodbye. That's basically, I think, it's kind of an approval that he has played so well in Australia. He realizes that today he obviously failed. So he's kind of giving a soft wave to the crowd, telling them that, thank you for the support that you've given me over the years. He's been an incredible cricketer, as you've been saying all along. His record speaks for himself. So obviously, no cricketer wants to fail, especially 2 ducks in a row is not good for any cricketer. He was a little bit disappointed, but he was appreciative of the fans. The fans were actually giving him a nice send-off, hoping that they see him again. And in his mind right now, it's difficult for him to actually think whether he's going to come back or not, because right now he's thinking about how do I get runs. And this is the thing, when you get a little bit at a certain age, you start to doubt yourself. And that is the thing that maybe in Virat's mind, not right now of retiring or whatever. He's trying to figure out how do I get the runs. And there are a few matches to go. I wouldn't be surprised if he does something special in the next few matches.
Ranjit Bajaj, what do you make of this gesture? Because we all know the kind of love affair that Virat Kohli has had with Adelaide. The fact that he got out on a duck for the second time, back-to-back ducks. But despite that, when he was walking out of the pitch, it was heartwarming to see everyone stand up, give him a standing ovation. Was it an acknowledgement of just that, a goodbye to Adelaide? Because many say that this may be the last time Virat Kohli plays in his beloved ground.
Good evening, Meghna ma'am. Thank you for having me. Ma'am, I would actually say that maybe the last time he plays in Adelaide, not the last time he ever plays or is thinking of retiring, because I don't know when he's going to get the opportunity to come again for an Australia tour, because it will take a couple of years again, maybe.
Absolutely, and it's unlikely that he'll come back again.
Yeah, he's going to come back. So that maybe, and like you said, very rightly so, this being his favorite ground outside India, and him, not only his favorite ground, but the highest run scored by a non-Australian. That just shows you, because Australian cricket didn't start 20, 30 years ago. It started as long as when the English cricket started, over 120, 130 years history. So it's a non-Australian batter starting from the time of, we're talking about Don Bradman's time. No one's been able to do what he has done is phenomenal. Now, coming to the other point, ma'am, when you were showing all the stats, I was also calculating. He scored 2,012 runs in the last 4 years, like you were mentioning, and he's played 50 matches. So even if you look at that as an average, it's a 40-plus average easily. 40-plus average is still okay, because what he does is he switches it on at the right time. For example, the century against Pakistan. So yes, by the way, Abhishek Sharma and Prabh Simran, both from Minerva Cricket Academy and clubs, they played over 100 matches for me, and I'll be the first one saying yes, put them in. But with a legend like Virat, he is more there he's your trump card. When everyone else fails, he will stand up, and that's what his track record has been. When the chips are down, he stands up. So to discard someone like that over 2 matches, I think would be a little unfair to him, because I'll be the first one to put my hand up and say no, and I was the first one who said he needs to go out of T20 because the youngsters have come in, and for the test matches as well. Now, when he's retired from everything else and he's only concentrating on this, his fitness levels are as good as was earlier. This is a matter of form. Like they say, ma'am, form is temporary, but class is permanent.
Oh, I think everyone can agree with that. He's got class, and we have to give it to him. Even his diminishing average is higher than what most of the others have. But that's precisely the point, Alan Sippy. The fact that he has been playing such a rigorous game, and he's known to be a perfectionist, he's known to be brutal with himself when it comes to preparations. He's not someone who can just turn up one day and start playing. He's someone who's known to follow a regimen which is extremely brutal. To do it year after year, decade after decade, that does take a toll. After all, what does he have to prove anymore?
Meghna, that's an amazing point that you make, because you see, this man is a very, he's a very proud man, and he's very conscious about his record in world cricket. So for him, this failure is going to hurt him quite badly. And he knows, in the heart of heart, he knows that he has to perform. Because like you rightly said at the start of the show, there's so many young superstars in the making. There's so much talent coming through that the pressure on him now is much more than what it was before, because these young stars are performing very well. And Virat, on the hand, he wants to perform because he believes that he's still got something in him. But age is always catching up with you. And it's never easy for any sportsman, whether it's cricket or football or anything. Age is a number that you can't hide from the fact. And this is why I think Virat is now realizing that the clock's ticking against him. But he wants to do something special because he wants to go out on a good note. He wants to go out showing India that, listen, I played on my own terms and I'll leave on my own terms. I'll leave it with my head held high.
There are those like Ganguly, for example, who made one of the most stunning comebacks after he was completely written off. So we can never write off a great, a legend. Ranjit Bajaj, completely out of time, but I have to ask you. The kind of farewells that we've seen in the past for Sachin Tendulkar, Saurabh Ganguly, the greats of Indian cricketing, this would be the saddest possible ever. Dejected Kohli looking down, walking out of Adelaide with a glove in his hand. The saddest ever? Do you think he deserves much better if this indeed is his swan song?
Ma'am, I would beg to differ. This is not his swan song. Because
Okay.
he's just saying all that. When the moment you're saying that, I got goosebumps that, no, this cannot be it. And this cannot be the way he goes out. And this cannot be the way we Indians show appreciation to him. So I really think that he has it in him to pull off a few more miracles. Because if you see, this was a couple of years back when he got the average down to 23 again. We all wrote him off again. And then he came back with a bang.
To a 74.
Yeah, and then it went up to 74 because he came back with a bang in the World Cup. So, like you said, very rightly, and like Alan said, you don't write off greats like this.
You can't write off a great. Unfortunately, out of time, he's also someone who's aced the yo-yo test. Before the series began, he said, I'm in the best ever form that I have been physically.
Exactly.
So he's not someone any of us want to write off. Definitely that one last picture of him with his head bowed down, with his gloves in his hand, well, that's not going to be goodbye. Right here, we've decided on timestamp. Thank you so much, Alan Sippy. Pleasure to have you on the show, as well as Ranjit Bajaj. With that, a short break. Don't go anywhere. I'll return in 2 minutes.